Welcome back to the Saints. Saints, my name is R.C.
This is Andrew.
This is Carrie.
This is Allison.
This is Tyrone.
This is Thomas.
And this is Bridget. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Ooh, I like this one.
North
That's
Austin.
not what you think.
Yes,
I still like it.
North Austin is good.
Yes.
We did some episodes on the Song of Solomon.
We did.
This was, oh my gosh, February of 2017.
2 years
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Can you believe it?
Dude,
Wow.
thank you.
I had no idea it was that long ago.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
On its way.
Yeah. So back then we were discussing what the Lord is revealing about Christ and his bride through the book Song of Solomon. And we never made it really, really all the way through. So
We were going a little slow through the book.
we were.
Intentionally.
Taking our time, yes.
We were
That was-
intentionally going slow, and then the Lord moved on. And we were happy to move on with him.
We're ready. to.
That's the beauty of following life.
Yes.
Yes, amen.
And so I recently last year actually, was reading back through
So
Deverm
long ago.
Fromke's book, Ultimate Intention. And in chapter 25 of his book, he talks about Song of Solomon and the picture that we see of the Lord setting love in right order within the bride. And so I thought, you know what, let's recap quickly what we've already gone over and then kind of hone in on the end game, the goal, a little more, what we're moving toward. So if you want to go back and listen to our previous episodes of Song of Solomon,
And there are plenty.
Yeah. Remember, we broke them up.
We did.
Right.
That's why they're more
Yes.
now.
Right.
So when we list them, that's why.
yeah,
Right, they're not going to be 2-hour episodes anymore.
No. So.
right. We'll put links in the show notes, but they're essentially episodes 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
So,
And this, by the way, for context, is episode number 93.
Yes.
Yes.
yes, it is.
Yes, so those were long, long ago, like you said. back
Yeah.
in-
Molly.
In a galaxy far, far away.
All right, so let's get started. I guess this is with the recap, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So the first kind of love spoken in our love story that we were looking at many moons ago is the love of gratitude. It's first love, a love of gratitude. Taken from Song of Solomon 2, verse 16, my lover is mine and I am his. First love.
Yeah, and the first love is more of a immature type love, self-focused. His concern is what Christ can do for me.
Yes.
What can I get from Christ?
I don't think we'd put it in those words, but it is just that way. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, we wouldn't say that we're behaving that way, but it
No.
is.
Right.
Right.
We don't realize it.
Right.
Sorry. I just wanted
Right.
to.
Because we first start out with my lover is mine.
Right.
It's mine, mine.
He
kind of
died
thing.
for me. You know,
Yes,
like
right.
just that.
Yep.
Anyway, which he did,
Yes.
but it's more.
Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That's why it's his first love.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's focused on self, and it focuses on. It's like we love because something else has happened.
Right.
Right.
So it's more of the selfish is the motivation behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like Carrie was saying, we don't even realize that's the source of our love. And the reality is that God still accepts this love from us.
He does.
Like
Oh,
he understands that this is where love starts. But he never intends for us to stay in that love.
Right.
Right.
Like that's just like when you have a baby, you never intend for the baby to stay a baby. That's, not the purpose, right?
Well, even a baby at the beginning has itself, like with its parents, what the parents can do for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's in that, and the parents still love that baby.
Sure. Yep.
absolutely.
I mean, get me this, get me that. You're this for me. I love you because you do,
Yep.
Because that baby doesn't know any better.
Right.
And we know that. We know that that baby does not have the
Right.
capacity to understand.
Yeah.
Just like the Lord knows that in our new birth, we don't have that
Yeah.
mental capacity to
Exactly. Yet.
understand.
Right. And so he's going to draw us on. And
Yes.
we can actually start to sicken of this love. Sorry, a whole bunch of examples are flowing through
Flooding.
my mind, and I'm trying to decide if I should go there, but this is a recap. We don't really want to stay on this. We talked about this a lot in the previous episode, so you really can go listen to it there. But it's a good thing that we start to sicken of this love.
Yeah.
Like it's good, and God uses that as an opportunity to draw us on into Him, maturing, setting love in right order within us.
Yeah, and so the experience is that the bridegroom takes the bride through, or his church, or us as individual members, is to bring her into a deeper aspect of his love.
Yep.
That goes beyond what you can do for me, what the Lord can do for me, but rather, Lord, what do you want? Doesn't matter what I want anymore.
Right.
It's just you.
Yeah.
You.
Beyond the emotions and the feelings.
Yeah.
So now we go from that first love to a growing love. This is from SOS 6:3. I am my lover's, and my lover is mine. It's still, it's a growing love, and it starts at I am my lover's. I'm still, still focus on my lover is mine. That's still there, but it's growing now, because now instead of my lover is mine, that starting it off. Now it's I understand that I belong to my lover, the Lord. And this is the love of excellence. We are becoming more aware of Him now, more aware of Him than of His gifts.
Yes.
We are, the first love is all about, like we talked about, His gifts, what He can do for me. And now we're growing into, now we're more aware of who He is.
Right.
And it's not just His gifts.
Right.
But now we're starting to love Him for, man, He's actually pretty cool. He's a nice guy. We are seeing His own excellence, His perfection, and are being drawn unto Him. There's a strong element of admiration in this kind of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. More connection.
Yes.
Yeah, our eyes are being taken off of ourselves.
More.
We're in that transition of our eyes being taken more and more off of ourselves and set more and more on the Lord. I remember, Carrie's laughing because she remembers too. When we lived in Florida, the sisters went on a retreat to the beach, because you can do that in Florida, lots of beach. And there actually was a monsoon the weekend that we were there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, it literally.
And the house that we were in was a 3-story house, literally right on the beach.
Yeah.
Beautiful, just windows everywhere. But the basement started flooding, and we literally were washing, drying, putting new towels back out, washing, drying, putting new towels back out all weekend long. How does that play into it? Doesn't. It just was an interesting tidbit for me to share. But one thing that I experienced that weekend that was new to me was seeing the ocean and the beauty of it, the sort of wildness of it, I think, the power of it, and being in a new season of life where I was starting to see the Lord expressed in His creation and in all things, and learning to gaze upon Him in new ways. There was this sense of attraction to Him, seeing that, knowing that the reality of what I was seeing in the ocean was actually found in Jesus Christ, and just really being drawn toward Him and attracted to Him. And so when I was thinking about sort of this process of being ultimately brought into the Lord's own love, that stood out as an evidence of moving in to this love of where my eyes were being put on this really amazing Lord, this excellent one.
Are you going to call him what you call him?
We called him Sexy Jesus.
We did. The sisters came back with that.
We did. I mean, it was, and now, like, I'm a little hesitant to put it on the air because I'm afraid people might think of it as degrading. And we didn't mean it as degrading. We just meant it as we had all kind of felt this really strong attraction toward him. And not just on like this base sort of sexual level, but just like this.
His excellence, who he was.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. So, yeah.
For sure.
However,
Yes,
You have to
in
move on.
this stage of growing love, there is still a mixture of sort of true giving and desiring to get for your own gain.
right.
But we are becoming more aware of him and what we can be to him.
Right.
Yes.
Starting to see that he has a perspective that we get to see
Yes.
and we get to have.
Right. So now we go from the first love to growing love to a mature love or pure love. This is, when I say SOS, it's either Song of Solomon or Song of Songs. 7:10. I am my lover's, and he claims me as his own. There's nothing mine there at all.
Right.
It went from my lover is mine and all that to now I am my lover's. I'm his. I'm all his, and he claims me as his own. It's still about him.
Right.
Yeah, this is a love that has no because. It's God's own love, a love that loves. And I really liked the recovery version of explains 1 John 4:19 about we love because the Father loved us. And it says, God first loved us in that he infused us with his love and generated within us the love with which we love him and the brothers. And it's his love that we've been infused with, and that's the source of that love. And in Song of Songs, he brings her to his own love, and now they love each other with this love, and love others with that love. That's the source.
really
Now
good.
that's the source.
Yeah.
awesome.
She truly is now one with him, and she doesn't have this love with an ulterior motive or a love because of something else.
Right. It's
all out of his love. He's the source.
nice.
Yep.
I love that there's that reality. I mean, we just last week talked about the fact that the Lord has placed himself within us, and we get all of him. So that means we have his love too, right? And that is what he's after, which is, you know, the bride and the bridegroom in this one love, right? And while we have his own love within us, we still have to be grown up into it. We don't actually know how to love him with his own love right from the start.
Right.
And so that's what we're learning. And Song of Solomon is a beautiful picture of that. I think it really opens up, and I think it really opens up the book Song of Songs or Song of Solomon when you understand the overarching goal.
Yeah, the progression.
Yes,
Where
of what's
the Lord's
happening.
headed.
Exactly, because it starts, the things that the Shulamite woman or the bride experiences start to make sense. And really even just, you know, that one scripture to, what was it, 2:16, that alone doesn't show her sort of self-centered,
Right.
selfish love. You see it all in chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know, and then you start to see what the bridegroom is doing to draw her out of that.
Yeah.
And then you see her moving into this love of excellence. And the bridegroom then even still
Draws her out of that.
draws her out of that, right? Because he's bringing her into his own love, which is a pure love. And, you know, we have scripture that says, we know that God loved us in this, that he gave his life for us while we were yet sinners, right? We have a God whose love needs no reason for gratitude. There was literally nothing we could do for him.
Right.
And we have a God whose love needs no excellence to be directed toward. We had no excellence in our fallen state, but yet his love was toward us, because that's real love. God is love. And you know, this love, like Andrew was saying, that doesn't need a because, right? It loves, is beautiful. But the reality is, and we see this in Song of Solomon, the way that he brings us out of ourselves and into him, right? Brings us out of these lesser, mixed loves and into his is through the winepress. It's through experiences that ultimately the only way out is that laying down of ourselves, that denying of ourselves.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the story, and I know we've talked about all these things before. Good reminder podcast. The story, Hind's Feet on High Places.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's what she wants. The shepherd offers her in the beginning love, right? And so he plants that thorn within her, and then he gives her her two handmaidens to go along the journey with her, and they are sorrow and suffering.
Sorrow and suffering.
And at the end, not only does the Lord remove that lesser love, because she's ready, she's, you know, the path, and her handmaidens helping her along it have brought her to a place where she's ready to lay on the altar, right? And let him remove that. That love that wasn't actually love.
Right.
You know, that she's realized. And I think that the bride realizes too, that they were human love, essentially, toward the Lord. But he's wanting us to have the experience of the power and the freedom and the life, the real life and the real love of being in his love. And we see that in this story too. You know, the sorrow and suffering that she experiences.
Yeah.
You know, him leaving her not being able to find him.
And what happens because of it.
Exactly. You know, the experiences she has because of it. But just like in the end of Hind's Feet on High Places, sorrow and suffering are now what? Joy and... Oh, that's going to drive me nuts.
I don't remember.
It's the gain of that love, that pure love, that life is, it so far exceeds the experiences that had to be gone through to be brought into it, that you don't even consider those sorrow and suffering anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think that the bride in the Song of Solomon would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the experiences that she had to be brought to that place.
She wouldn't trade him.
No.
They brought her to a better place.
Right. To where she was.
Now she's joyful for what it brought.
Joy and peace.
Peace. Ah,
Peace.
I just found it.
So did
Yes.
Allison.
So-
we all found it at the same
Joy
time.
and
We win.
peace.
Right. The sorrow and suffering.
Sorry.
Was that you? Okay.
Are now
Did I do that?
joy and peace. And so, like, I know that at one time when I lived in a lot of fear, I would hear this and it would cause anxiety in me because I would think, like, all these bad things I'm gonna have to go through.
Yeah.
And so I want to say two things to that. If there's anyone out here who's like, wow, to the saints are just totally doom and gloom. Like, it does not sound cool. First of all, our God is a very, very good God. And like, he takes no pleasure, like sadistic pleasure,
No, that's
in suffering or sorrow.
No.
Like, his goal is actually to alleviate it, right? But right now, it's sorrow and suffering are under his dominion. That's why he can utilize them in the way he's able to.
But even staying in that lower state of love is a type of suffering for us.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's alleviating that,
Yes, by bringing us out of it.
bringing us out of it. And we don't think of it that way.
Right.
We think of it, this
But
is the way it's,
Because we're focused on ourselves, we think about
but we need it
what
set
affects
right.
us. Yes.
And in order to do that, he's going to use circumstances to
Yep.
set that thing right.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking as you were talking, to love because somebody did something for me, or to love because of excellence, that's how the world loves.
It is.
And so we've been conditioned to that, and we need to love. And I think a lot of us Christians, you hear them, they want to love the way the Lord loves. They want to love people that way, but you don't just get there.
Right.
You can't just. You have to go through the wine press to get to that place, and you have to allow him to bring you to that place, to that desire. And that desire he's been putting in your heart about loving others without a because.
Right.
That's his desire.
Yeah.
He's put that in you, but he's got to get you to that place.
Yeah.
And so there's a way in which he does it, and it's a way that will be perfect at the end.
Yes.
It will match every desire you have and he has for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to make one quick point of clarification that we are not saying that the Lord does not give us many good things.
Absolutely.
That are very
Yes.
desirous.
That was the other thing I wanted to point out.
Yes.
So perfect.
Yes. And so it's not so much that, wanting these great things that are desirous, that he does give us beyond that we can even comprehend. It's more that our love for him is just because of who he is, who he's shown himself to be. And these other things are things that come just from who he is and what he's given us.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong to desire those things
No.
that he has.
No, I was actually going to give an example, honestly, because this was a more recent sort of reality for me to walk through, because I had actually come to know the Lord through suffering and felt very comfortable knowing him through suffering, actually. Not that I enjoyed it, I'm not saying that, and I resisted it quite a bit, but it was like confirmation that it was the Lord if it was suffering.
Yes.
You know?
You had gotten so used to it.
I'd gotten so used to it. And the Lord is a full and complete God, not just one-sided, and actually walked me through a season of giving me good things and some things that I wanted, but that, didn't necessarily benefit him in any way that I could see. You know what I mean? Like a gift. Like when you give someone a gift, like you don't, I'm not going to give Thomas a gift so that I can use it, right? Like I'm going to give him a gift, and it's going to be his for his pleasure. And I felt like the Lord wanting to remind me that we can also know him through his good gifts as well, and that he does give good things to his own. And honestly, he gives good things to the world too.
Yes, he
But
does.
so yeah, I wanted to say those two things, that one, our Lord's good, and any sort of experience that he brings us through that is sorrow or suffering has a purpose. It's never unintentional. It will only be what is needed, right? But he also does give good gifts. Like it's not just a life of sorrow and suffering with the Lord.
No.
And it's not a contradiction to love the Lord and also say these gifts are good.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that you've
Right.
given them to us.
Yes. So that's another thing I thought of when we were talking about this, because it's not wrong to be grateful to the Lord, and it's not wrong to see his excellence
No.
and acknowledge it, to admire him.
Yeah.
Like those things aren't wrong.
Right.
It's when those things are the source
Right.
that it's a lower love. Because
That's a good point.
yeah, I mean, the Lord, I'm sure, is grateful when we give him gifts. that doesn't lower his love just because he's grateful. You know what I mean? His love is still that pure love that doesn't require that gift to love. He loves us even, I mean, he sees excellence in us because he sees his son in us, you know? And so it's not that it's bad to thank him for all that he's done for us and all he's given to us, or to recognize his excellence and to admire him. The issue is when those things are the source.
Yeah.
I say issue. It's just evidence that it's a lower love when those things are the source.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes along with what we were talking about with the indwelling life. I mean, we learn to live by his life. Well, one of the expressions of his life is love. He doesn't want us to live by our version of love.
Right.
The love that comes from our source.
Yes.
Right.
He's bringing us out of that, a source of ourselves, and into the source of him.
Yes.
And that is the source that loves for no reason.
Yep.
And so, but it not only to bring it into it, but to get to know it on a very intimate level, so much so to express it outward.
Right.
And then it's not our love we're giving to the world. It's not our love we're giving to the brothers and sisters. It's his love that's been wrought in us that we know because we've walked with him and he's shown us. Now that's what's being flowed out.
Right.
Yeah.
And it actually goes back to him when it's flowed out. You know, so he wants to be the source of that love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
He doesn't want you to be the source of the love.
Right.
But you have to give up the lower form of it, how the world loves, out of their own strength.
Right.
You know, that's only going to take you so far. You can only love a person for so long. That's why the world's conditional.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
Very conditional.
yeah. And so I think it sounds like that's what you were trying to get across.
It is absolutely.
A different source. He wants us to love by a different source.
Yep.
And it's really
Source, yes.
learning to live by an indwelling life of love.
Because the Father poured out the Father's pure, unbecausing love
Yeah.
into the Son.
Yep.
And the Son didn't pour out the Son's love. The Son poured out that same love
That he had been filled with.
that he had just been filled. He poured that back out into the Father.
Right.
And now that same love is poured into us.
Right. And it wants that same thing.
And that's right. He doesn't want RC's version of that love. He wants his own version of that love flowing back through RC.
Yes.
And man, Carrie and I have been on the same wavelength the past couple weeks. So I was going to say that same thing about
That's awesome.
we can't live with our love. The kind of love that the Lord, this kind of mature, pure love doesn't come from RC. I can't love with that love. And that's what we're talking about. You're about to get into the wine. You mentioned the wine press earlier. I've got to be crushed out of there. My love's got to be crushed out so that his love flows through.
Right.
I can't continue to love Bridget with my own love forever or for 20 plus years.
It will run out.
However
It
long
will
we've been
run
married.
out.
It will.
Quickly.
It ran out several years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
but
good.
what it's filled with now is the Lord's love, or a maturing love at
Yeah.
least.
Where
I
you're
don't
learning
know
to draw
that's-
from that love.
Yes, exactly.
To give to her.
Right. I mean, yeah, there are still plenty of times when RC's love is still there.
Yeah.
But it's a maturing love to where
Yeah.
RC's love is replaced with a higher love. You keep saying higher and lower, and RC is definitely lower
Yeah.
than God the Father,
Yeah.
in case you didn't know.
Yeah. And so Song of Solomon is a good, like you were saying, like an overarching picture of how the
Yes.
Lord brings us out of our own version of love, our own source of love, and brings us into his,
Yes.
and then teaches us to live by that source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Each experience reveals more of the bridegroom and takes
Yes.
her eyes more off herself.
Right.
Until finally, in the end, we see her on the mountaintops with him,
Yep.
and her concern is utterly for him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for just pouring herself out for him.
Yes.
He is the worthy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glory.
She is there waiting to be filled
Yeah.
with his love over and over and over again, to be poured back to him.
Yep.
And it's a never-ending love.
Yes.
Yeah, so Song of Solomon, like we said, when we began this thing 2 years ago, we saw that there are 5 parts of love, or to love, through the book of Song of Solomon. The first part is that initial love, that first love. And that's, you can kind of see that really sketched out in the first chapter of that book to the second chapter, verse 7.
Yeah.
And then it goes into faltering love, where I'm starting to learn, but I'm still faltering. That it's still kind of selfish, but it's growing a little bit, but it's not the initial love anymore. It's a faltering love.
Right.
And that turns into growing love, which then moves on into transforming love. And that's where that love starts to change over from me focused to him focused.
Yeah.
And
source
then,
change.
Yes, that's that right. That transforming love is when that source change starts there. And then the mature love is where I no longer love with my love anymore.
No.
It's now that first love, that love that he first poured into me, his love, that source love. And so that's the mature, the pure love, as what we're calling this episode number 93. Pure love.
Yes.
It's that mature love.
Yep.
Which that all came from Brother Watchman Nee's
Yes.
book, right?
Yep.
Song of Songs.
Those that you specifically just
Yes.
talked about, yes, came
Yes.
from
That came
Watchman
from-
Nee, Song of
right.
Songs.
Oh.
The gratitude, excellence, pure, that came from
De
Verm, Frankie's Ultimate Intention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct, Bridget.
Yeah.
So, Watchman Nee, DeVern Frankie,
Not wash your knee.
wash your What else, Ryan? That's going with it.
Oh, bless.
All right. So, hey, we're going to take a very quick break. When I say quick break, by the end of this song, we'll be back with another segment for you right here on To the Saints. All right, welcome back. That was a quick break, like I said it was going to be. I try to deliver on my word. If I say we'll be
Welcome
right
back after not going anywhere.
Well, exactly. But we wanted to kind of lighten up a little. Lighten up, Andrew. We wanted to lighten the mood just a tad, because we got some good meat, as Thomas would say, thick and deep in there.
Yeah, that was his description.
That was his description in the Song of Songs there. And so, speaking of songs, my wife, Bridget Fabian, not B. Ridget.
I was going to ask, what is that other nickname?
No.
This is B. Rich.
She came across a song a little while ago
A good one.
and wanted us all to listen to it. Can you tell us a little bit about this song before we play it, Bridget?
Go.
I can.
Would you please?
A very little bit.
Okay, great.
Because before I, basically, an old friend posted this on their Facebook wall, and I happened to see it. And I have never heard of Andrew Peterson before. And this is the only thing of his that I'm familiar with right now.
Okay.
His books and other music look interesting. And
Books
I
are great.
do look forward. Awesome. Okay, good. We have someone on the line.
Fan of the books.
Who has some
Tell us, caller. What can you tell us about
experience with
Andrew
this.
Peterson?
Andrew Peterson.
I couldn't even do it. I was laughing.
This is a lesson.
Oh, sorry, guys. But it's an absolutely beautiful song, and really the video also moved me because it's a company. It's a company of saints declaring the Lord together. So we'll put the video in the show notes.
Yes.
So you can enjoy that as well. And we're going to play the song for you now.
Yes. Right this moment.
It's called Is He Worthy?
Do you feel the world is broken? We do. Do you feel the shadows deepen? We do. But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through? We do. Do you wish that you could see it all made new? We do. Is all creation groaning? Is a new
Peterson. No relation to Andrew Walters.
Nope.
Is he worthy?
He is.
Yes. Yes.
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah.
I mean, songs go pretty good. The video, like you said, it's pretty good. It starts out all dark, and by the end, everybody's got light lit up. What else do you want to say about anything?
It actually reminded me of toward the end of the movie The Sound of Music, when the Von Trapps are singing Edelweiss. Well, I think it's just him singing Edelweiss at that point, the dad. And all of a sudden, even though this song is somewhat sketchy under Nazi control, whether or not they should be singing this sort of patriotic song about their country, the audience starts joining in with him to help him finish the song. And it's like there's this moment of this unity of these people and what their hearts are, even though they're under this terrible regime, that I feel as people are added to this song kind of gives me that same feeling of it's not just one of us saying, is he worthy? He is.
Right.
We are joining together to say, yes, he is worthy.
Right.
Everybody should know he is worthy.
Yes.
And it is worth fighting against whatever there is coming against that to say that together.
Yep. Amen.
And that's growing daily. People coming into that to say the same thing. Like that one voice is getting louder
Yes.
and louder and louder because each people keep coming into it, you know, and saying he's worthy.
He is worthy. That's that. I mean, there's some really beautiful declarations, I feel like, throughout that whole song. But every single time I've listened to it, it still gets me when there's that big he is, you know, after he's the sanctuary has filled now, and he's asking again, is he worthy of this? And you just get this one
Corporate declaration.
this one resounding voice. He is.
That'd be a
And
fun
I literally
meeting to
chills
have.
every single time. I
You know,
listen
like to do a
it.
meeting that way, just to kind of the saints like
It would be
listing,
asking questions.
and then having that like entering
Yes.
into that response back and forth with each other. Like, is it this? And he's like, he is.
Call and response.
Yeah,
Yes.
like it just entering into that dialogue. You know, the Father saying things to the Son, and you know, like, no, he is worthy.
Yeah.
You know.
It'd be a cool,
So.
meeting. For more on this immense significance of this Christ,
Oh yeah.
you can look at episode 34,
Yes.
Yeah.
when we talk about this new humanity, and we really get into this immense significance
Yes.
of Jesus Christ. Another one is we actually ask, is he worthy, or is he worth following? You know, we have a few episodes on following Christ, you know, why it's so rare.
Yeah.
And then the call to follow him, and then is he worth it? That's episode 43
Awesome.
as well. This worthiness of this Lord
Yeah.
of ours.
Nice. That's a good song.
Yes.
Well, all right, saints. That's good. The end of this episode now.
Yes.
We will be back, but not right away. It'll be a few days, not months. At least that's the plan right now. Okay, so until next time, keep listening to thesaints.com. Cool stuff. This is RC.
This is Andrew.
This is Carrie.
This is Allison.
This is Tyrone.
This is Thomas.
And this is Bridget.